Hey Lala, how's it going? So, my viewers may not know too much about you, but I would like to tell my viewers how I did find you. I actually was just scrolling through my Instagram. I saw that you liked one of my reels, and you ended up following me. And so I checked out your page as well, and I found it very fascinating. So, for my viewers, his Instagram page is I am that Lala. I will have all the links down in the description box below. So if you want more information on his amazing things that he's doing in Nigeria, Africa. So for those that don't know where Nigeria is, it is in Africa, one of the greatest countries in Africa as well, and it's one of the most developing and growing countries. So Lala, can you tell us more about yourself and your business?
AJ, amazing work you're doing. I'd like to give you kudos for just inspiring people like us to do what it is that we do. My name is Demola Adelibigbe. My friends call me Lala. I am a strategist, business humorist. I also am currently doing my PhD in strategy and innovation. What I basically do is run a consulting firm that is democratizing innovation and strategy. It's making innovation and strategy hilariously simple. That's how I like to describe it. Hilariously simple and quite applicable to both institutions and individuals. So I had my first and master's degree in business, and I did not necessarily enjoy schooling. I love knowledge, but the way the knowledge was passed on to me was not something I really enjoyed. So, but I got into the workspace and I found myself in consulting, business consulting. I enjoyed it, but I realized that there was some sort of SOP, standard operating procedure, that says in this field, desist from using creativity, because there was a way we must do everything. So I transitioned into brand management and realized that brand management allowed you to express your creative, ideas to the limits. I enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. And I thought to myself, especially when it comes to brand activations, in the way, in the methodology and approach to engaging customers and getting them to take action, I realized that we're allowed to express ourselves to no end. So I thought to myself, why not bring the creativity and innovation of brand management and consulting and bring it into business consulting, especially with regards to learning and development, corporate education, learning and development. So I realized that, okay, the kind of things we could do to make corporate education really fun, really enjoyable and exciting could be using humor and using gamification. I don't know if you're familiar with gamification.
I'm not.
Bringing
Can you elaborate on that?
So gamification is the use of game-based mechanics in non-gaming activity. So, for instance, using challenge, using reward, um, using everything that you find while playing a game. I know you play games.
Definitely.
So I've gone down memory lane to realize that you do play games. So and so we bring all of those things that we see in gaming. We bring it into other activities outside of gaming. So we brought that into learning and development. And you know what was interesting? So I transitioned back into business consulting and focused on corporate education, which is learning and development. But I transitioned as into head of training of an organization. However, the organization was, my employing organization were not too comfortable with with this new approach. They felt it was going to water down the quality of learning, that goes on in corporate education. And I said, no, I didn't think that same way. So at some point I realized that, okay, this was burning within me. I wanted to test it out, but my organization was saying, no, you can't do it here. There's a way we've been doing it, and they're always very comfortable with the way they've been doing it, if you know what I mean. A lot of organizations are very comfortable with the way they've been doing it, that has been very profitable for them. So if you're going to, change it, they have to be 100% sure
Yeah.
that, this was going to make them money. So I couldn't guarantee them it was going to make them money, but I told them it was going to, open up a new vista to them. And so at some point I realized it wasn't going to work. So I had to go out on a limb and start out my entrepreneurial journey of trying to share this, innovative approach to corporate education with corporate Nigeria. And you know what, Jacob? They bought it hook, line, and sinkers. As in, it was amazing. In a short while, I was consulting for organizations that I wanted to work with. Organizations I was looking up to say, if these people decide to hire me, I will leave every other thing I was doing to join them. But these guys were willing to ask me to come on board, deploy, my innovative approach to learning with their management team. In fact, for some of them, we actually did their strategy retreat because they were also bored. Every time they say it's time for learning in corporate Nigeria, I don't know how it is, but a lot of people just feel, oh, Jesus, somebody's just going to come and be telling us next slide.
That is exactly how I feel. Whenever there's a meeting, I wish it was an email instead.
So when I realized, wow, this was giving me the kind of not just the reward, it was also giving me the kind of recognition I could never have gotten if I'd stayed back in my previous employment. I now, was starting a campaign called the LYBL campaign, which basically means live your best life. So I was
and that is a clothing brand, correct? Is that more than a clothing brand?
Yeah, so we actually started out as a campaign, just a campaign to inspire people, ordinary people, to make extraordinary decisions, and following the path less traveled because of my journey. So I started, we started putting that on T-shirts, on face caps, because we saw the results we were getting, in comparison to where I was coming from. And so we wanted to inspire many more people to take that, road less traveled, follow your deepest, desires, pursue your dreams, because you never know what's on the other side of it. So what we're just doing was just like you're wearing another Jacob, AnotherJacobRant right now. So we were just branding live your best life on tees, on gears. And so I noticed that, especially for my former organization, people started ordering, can I have 5 caps? Can I have 10 caps? Can I have 5 tees? Can I have sweaters? Can I have hoodies? Can I have this? And I noticed that the demand was increasing and increasing. And the next day they said, okay, can I make for like, so instead of, we're just doing mesh before. And they asked us, okay, you know what? Can we also make like what we're wearing now is made by us. Can we also make other things? And I'm like, no, we're not a fashion brand. We're just trying to push a campaign. But Jacob, when people put money behind their desire, I can't say no to money, if you know what I mean.
The market talks, so the market dictates.
Exactly. So they started making a lot of demand, and my wife used to be in banking before, but that line of the business, the LYBL line, started increasing and growing, and like I said, we're not even that strong on social media. However, when people hear the journey of living, the comfort of paid employment and starting out a novel practice, of using humor in business consulting and corporate education, and they also experience it. So for instance, we've been to at least one of the top 4 brands in every major sector in the Nigerian economy. Top 4 brands. So if you call the financial sector, we've been in First Bank, GT Bank. Those are the biggest banks in Nigeria.
That is amazing.
Some of the biggest banks in Nigeria. So even in telcos, we've been there. So it just occurred to me that if I'd stayed back, in my former employment, being afraid, to try out this innovative approach to corporate learning and business consulting, I would never have known what was on the other side. And you know what? It keeps getting better and better. Because, for instance, you checked out the page and said, wow, this is interesting. Now, if you find it interesting, how much more my people here in Nigeria, they find it mind-blowing. In fact, my lecturers, my professors are always saying, what do you do again? What do you say you do? You use humor. And they're like, are you for real? Are you a comedian? I said, no. And
you know, I get that all the time because as you see from my other videos, I look like a clown. But when you hear me, I have my, pretty good knowledge of, finance and stocks and things like that. So people always comment saying, why are you wearing a clown outfit? Why are you wearing a clown outfit? And so I always repeat and say, well, humor and education always go together, right? It attracts the customer, it attracts the views. And not only that, but you're getting some benefit, knowledgeable as well.
Fantastic. I say that whatever is learnt in pleasure is learnt full measure, because boring education is bad education, And it's been phenomenal, the journey. And you know what? It was during COVID that I actually realized that there was a word called the business humorist. I didn't know. So during COVID, a major hotel in Nigeria, it's a franchise. It's a franchise from the first world. The franchise, major hotel, had to let a lot of people go. They had to let a lot of people go, not because they were, not effective, but because, of course, their sector was really, really hit by COVID.
Yeah.
Yes, really, really hit. So
Well,
they asked us to do something called exit management. Let them go in such a way that they are looking forward to going. You know what I mean?
making it easy on the departure. Yeah. So it's not too aggressive or too abrupt.
Exactly. So they reached out to us and said that we know that there's a way you guys do this thing that makes it such that people are enjoying the process of whatever is being done. So could you develop something and deploy it? And so, yes, we did deploy it. And it was amazing. And the Caucasian that came from Europe, to oversee the entire process, said to me when I was done with my own session, I said, do you know you make a fantastic business humorist? I'd never heard the word before. I said, so of course I knew business and I knew humor, but the word being used together, I'd never heard it. And she said, will I be willing, because I did the job for them in Lagos. I said, will I be willing to go across all their locations around Nigeria to do exactly what, because they were letting people go all across Nigeria. Will I be willing to go across Nigeria and deploy the same thing for other people that they were letting go? I was still trying to figure out, I don't know what the business you go. I was still trying to figure out, what's this? What does that mean? Then she mentioned the amount they were willing to pay me in dollars, Now, yes. When I heard the money in dollars, and she asked me to come out exactly what I've done with this team in Lagos, I looked at her and said, Madam, I'm Nigeria's #1 business humorist. I'd never heard the word before, but when I heard the amount, I claimed the title.
You had to take advantage of it.
Yes, I had to. And as I speak to you right now, I'm probably Nigeria's #1 business humorist.
And you know what? That's what and that's what made me want to contact you, because I've never heard of a business humorist, even here where I am in North America. And it is amazing to see you do this, because I'm sure my viewers, some of them who may be funny and also in business, might put two together, just like yourself, and become their own business humorist. So this is actually a really cool and interesting concept. And so if someone was to, for example, want to invest in Nigeria or any parts of Africa, what are some important things that they need to look for? Because you took something that you already are doing, business, humor, branding, innovation, and you created a business out of it. So how can others look at your journey and look at your success and maybe start their own business or invest in Nigeria?
So the truth about it is that Nigeria is such a vital force in Africa. And I say that because, number one, we've got the largest population in Africa. But you see, the population is not a docile population. The two characteristics that define a Nigerian, is the resourcefulness of the Nigerian and the agility. We are quite agile people. We're not docile. We're very resourceful and we're quite agile. And if you have 5% of the Nigerian populace buy into any product you bring into this part of Africa, your product goes viral immediately. Whatever gets traction in Nigeria cuts across sub-Saharan Africa. That is the #1 thing people must realize. Whichever product gets into Nigeria and there's traction, realize that Ghana, Benin Republic, all Togo, all of the nations across Western Africa already have a buying into your product. And so, it is such a developing nation in the sense that you still find that quite a number of brands are not even here. So for instance, would you believe that, okay, KFC has been here for long, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, but Burger King just came in less than a year ago.
Really?
Yeah, about maybe a year ago. Yes, I just saw Burger King for the first time, maybe last 2023.
So corporations are finally coming in now.
They're coming in because there is such an empowered, population. Empowered in the sense that, firstly, they are very aware. Nigerians are very, very, very aware. And they are, so for instance, you'll be surprised that if there's a new software, a new design software coming out. So case in point, let's talk about Canva. An
Yes.
average Nigerian business owner can use Canva and use it at least intermediate level. That is how, that's how agile we are. Now, if they buy into any product you're bringing in, be it fashion, tech, I can guarantee you, for instance, you know that out of the 7 unicorns in Africa, Nigeria has 5.
Really?
Five,
Wow.
5 startups. Yes, out of the 7 unicorns, businesses that are what, startups that are worth about $1 billion. Nigeria has 5 out of them. Now the other 2, I don't even know where they are domiciled, but I know that Nigeria has 5 out of those unicorns. It tells you how commercial we are, and these businesses cut across fintech. Yes, they are all tech businesses, but they cut across retail, they cut across payment gateways, they cut across so many platforms.
So
It shows you how
they've been watching for a while. So of course in Nigeria, almost everybody has some type of smartphone and internet. So they're watching what's happening in Europe. They're seeing what's happening in North America. And then when it comes to Nigeria, they're right away ready to learn, ready to get into it. I guess that's how they're, adapting very, very quickly compared to other nations. Because I know other nations, when new products come in, they might be kind of shy away from it. They might be, okay, I don't understand. Maybe I'll wait. But from what I'm hearing, Nigerians are very go-getters. They see something coming in, they're willing to learn, ready to adapt, and ready to grow.
spot on. You're spot on. You're
No,
very spot on.
that is amazing.
Well, so I don't know if you're familiar with Nigerian music, but I'm sure you might be familiar with maybe Burna Boy or Whiskey. Or
Yes.
what if I say, baby, calm down, calm down. I'm sure you probably have heard that before. You
Definitely.
can
So a lot of Afro beats is very, very big now in North America.
once you get into Nigeria and your products or your services get traction, believe me, you're going global. Believe me, you're going global. So for instance, AnotherJacobRant, you'll be surprised how many Nigerians would share your content, would root for you. Once they love you, it's you're in for a good time.
Well,
The world will get.
I actually love hearing that because I know a lot of people who want to invest, who want to start a business in Nigeria and other African countries, but they are, here in North America, we don't get the real news, the real information, what is actually happening in many countries. We usually get the negative news. We usually get a very kind of sheltered type of news and information. So from what I'm hearing, it is a very, very business minded type of country, very supportive country. So many people, hey, all my viewers out there, if you're thinking of investing, thinking of opening a business, Nigeria has to be the place to be because, as you said, right, once the traction is there, they will support you all the way to the end. And so so what about finances? For example, how easy is it to get financial support to open a business, maybe from a bank or maybe getting loans? How does the finance part work?
Okay, so in Nigeria, I would always say that no bank will give you money to start a business, but they will give you money to scale your business.
Very, very great way of saying it. Can you say that one more time? That is amazing way of saying it.
In Nigeria, most financial institutions will not give you money to start a business. They will give you money. They will rather give you money to scale your business. They want to see traction. They want to see a track record before they drop. In our case, it's called the Naira. Our currency is called the Naira. So once you've started and you have traction, no matter how small it is, you have numbers, some sort of progress report, it's not easy getting funded. But I tell people, so I've received, interestingly, they would also rather give businesses that are product-based. Product-based because, of course, like I said, we have a population to pull that product. They would rather give businesses that are product-based than businesses that are service-based. So if you have a product that would cater to a good, demography, and they are certain the product will work, especially when you've got some traction. Because personally, I've also gotten some funding. In fact, I got funding for LIBL. You know, I didn't get funding for consulting, but I got funding because they can see the numbers. The bank can see the numbers and they see what it is you're doing, and everybody wants to be part of that growth. But it's not easy getting funding to start any business, you know. But once you get traction, you would even find investors, people willing to give you money because they can see proof of concept. You know, nobody wants to give you money to try out your concept. No, they want to see proof that the concept is viable. Then they fund you.
So they want to make sure that whatever they're funding has the opportunity to grow instead of taking a risk or taking a chance on you.
Yes, that's
Well,
exactly the way it is here.
Well, that is good because I personally think that a lot of banks here in North America should also follow that concept because I'm not sure if it's the same in Africa, or in Nigeria, but here 1 in 5 businesses fail within the first year, and then 1 in, I believe, 3 businesses fail within the first 5 years. So businesses is a major risk that banks do take.
Yes, and you know what? We can't even afford for you to fail. So we can't put our money and see it fail. So we rather ensure that already you're succeeding. You're succeeding, and we can see, you know, tangible proof of that success. Then yes, we would invest our money. And so yes, even we're people that there's something we used to say that normally people would not enter a bus that's empty. You know, when the bus is almost full and the people know that in no time the bus will move, then people would enter it. Yes. So it is a bus that has passengers that other passengers will join. But you don't have any passenger at all, you're going to be at the bus stop for a long time.
Just
So
waiting
get
and
passengers
waiting.
on board, you know. Yes, get your business moving. Anyhow, whether you're crawling, whether you're strolling, just ensure you're moving. Once you get moving, you'll see support. But until you get moving, people's hands are off.
That is the best. That is the best mentality to have, right? It's the same concept. We always say it here. If you get stuck on the road, for example, if you're driving and you get stuck on the road and you ask for help, you're waving for help. Most people will not stop to help you. But if you're stuck on the road and you're pushing your car, you're trying to push your car, there will be someone to say, hey, that person needs help. I see them working and helping themselves. Let me go and help them as well. So it totally makes sense. And that is actually a really good system because that shows that a lot of Nigerian businesses and companies are not built to fail. They're built to succeed because of that system that you guys have built. So no, that is an amazing economic system. So Lala, investing in Nigeria as a foreigner, I've never been to Africa. I've never been to Nigeria. However, it is definitely a dream of mine and I will definitely go. And when I do go, I will definitely try to invest as well. So, and many of my viewers are also foreigners who have or may not have been to Nigeria. But in your professional and expert advice, what are some good sectors or industries to invest in Nigeria? And which one do you think is the best for foreigners as well?
Okay, so earlier I mentioned products. By products, I actually meant tangibles. You know, so for instance, we're very big on devices in Nigeria. So, for instance, um, phones. Phones for us, phones are not just for calling, texting, or surfing the internet. They are sort of like accessories and extensions of our identity. So you get a lot of people doing devices a lot. So yes, another thing is that urbanization. A lot of people are moving from the rural part of Nigeria to the urban centers like Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and so these cities are expanding. So for instance, we have a case where Lagos has so expanded into another state called Ogun State. And it's because there are a lot of people coming into the city. So real estate is also one major one, really major. And because again, we are very fashionable people, you know, we're very fashionable people. uh, yes, fashion and lifestyle in general. Fashion and lifestyle in general is a big, big, big business. And so, for instance, everywhere our music goes, you know, our fashion follows. So every time you hear Nigerian music, you see a Nigerian Afro, we call it Afro pop or something. You
Yeah, we
know,
call it
you see
Afrobeats
that.
here.
Oh, you call it Afro? Okay, Afro beats. Okay, Afro beat works. Okay, so you see that wherever our music goes, our fashion goes, our lifestyle goes, and if you also notice, wherever Nigerians go, we import everything that has to do with, you know, what we identify that identifies us as Nigerians. So I know other nationalities do it. Maybe the Indians also do it. The Jews do it. But ours is special because we import our religion. Even our religion, we import it with us. You know. So yes, real estate, technology, um, tangibles in terms of products. I would not always say services because, you know, it takes a while for your service to catch on. But for products, once you get the early adopters, once the early adopters pick it up, you know, you just probably just have to get. Okay, so I'm saying products are better because uh, it's easy for you to measure how quickly you're getting traction, you know, and for products, what I mean is tangibles. For instance, I was telling you that Burger King just got here. You would assume that because we have quite a number of uh, food chain, you would assume that um, new brands will not be coming in. However, like I told you, a lot of people are moving from the rural Nigeria into urban Nigeria, and that is creating a lot of demand for food, a lot of demand for clothing, anything people need on a daily basis, anything they require on a daily basis. Yes, it's the way to go. So Abraham Maslow hierarchy of need, you know. So below is physiological needs, you know, clothing, shelter, food, that. Then safety needs, you know. So
So it's going from needs where it's important essentials, you know, like where you live, what you eat, to now it's going into more luxury items, more of wants.
yes, so you go from needs into wants, you know. And so because we also have, like I said, we have a lot of businesses in Nigeria. So the businesses also need a lot of support. So for instance, I can tell you that I know I don't have data to prove this, but I know that Nigerians spend much more on, you know, Facebook and social and Instagram ads than probably any other nation of the world. I don't have this, you know, I don't have data to prove this, but because we have such a young and, you know, active population of business people, so they have a knack for knowledge, you know. So that's why I'm saying that once there's something they know that will get them to the next level, especially when they pass that level of needs, you know, people now want much more with their lives. But you can't go wrong with the needs. You cannot go wrong. For instance, I can say that the volume of fuel we consume, the volume of fuel we consume. So we have a lot of the big energy companies from across the world domiciled in Nigeria, you know, from across the world, from Shell to Chevron to whichever one, because it's because we have people consuming these things on a daily basis. So whatever people are consuming and using on a daily basis, that's the industry to focus on, you know. So for instance, FMCGs, fast moving consumer goods, geez. And you know, for people that are very resourceful, they have to eat, if you know what I mean. You know, if
Definitely.
you're very resourceful, you need food. You need food to and because you're also very agile, they need to take a lot of, you know. So yes, every business across the spectrum of daily needs, every business across the spectrum of daily needs, something people need daily, you know,
And
yes.
And they're not only just buying the cheapest one or the most affordable
Oh,
one. Now they're going to the next level where instead of buying that, $1, for example, toothpaste, now they're going a little premium and buying the $2.50 toothpaste. So you can see the growth.
so once people leave survival here, the next thing they want to do is that they also want to show you that they've arrived, like I
Exactly.
am. For instance, let me give you, there was a time power was really bad, electricity was really bad. There was a time electricity was really bad. That that was when, I know you might not have generators, in Canada, but here we have generators, different sizes, that does different things. The smallest one that could basically carry your basic home appliance, charge your phone, use you for your fan and your lights. The name they gave that generator to show you how much we wanted to show. We named the generator "I Better Pass My Neighbor."
Really?
Yes, because I have electricity and the neighbor doesn't have.
So
So
you
I
have
am better
passed
than
them.
you. Yes, I'm beyond you because I'm able to switch on the generator whenever the electricity is off. So we give it a better. It shows you that we are such a people that once we have arrived, we want to show it. We want, for instance,
You're
there is no
proud of the
brand.
hard work you've done. You're proud of what you've bought. You're proud.
There is no luxury brand from Balenciaga to um, uh, let me.
Like Louis
I want to
Vuitton,
talk about
Gucci.
Louis Vuitton, yes, to Gucci, any of those brands, And in fact, let's also talk the Maybach, from Maybach to G-Wagons to any luxury car,
I
you
see it
know.
all the time on my Instagram. Every time I see African excellence, it's always Nigeria. You have the Rolls Royce, you have men in amazing, beautiful suits, women in
Yes.
beautiful dresses, and they're going to the luxury hotels, they're going traveling, and they're happy. I see it all the time, and that's why it's actually so good to see this view of Africa and Nigeria instead of the other view that we're seeing all the time.
Unfortunately, for some strange reason, people escalate the bad news, And you know what? There's bad news everywhere. There's bad
Exactly.
news everywhere. There is bad news everywhere. I have three of my siblings. In fact, as I speak to you now, my dad is also in Canada, on holiday in Canada. And sometimes when they give me some news, you're shocked to say, what? I assume that was the first world. And they're like, you'll be surprised what happens. However, they are giving me their first-hand experience. I didn't hear it from the news. You will never hear such a thing from the news. But in our part of the world, when something goes bad, it's reported by the news.
It
So,
is.
and you know what is interesting? I tell people, you know, if you've ever if you ever want to experience the vibrancy of Africa, Nigeria is a place to come to. Nigeria is a place to come to. Yes, every developing nation, in fact, developed nations too, also have issues,
100%.
uh,
I mean, even our own nation here in Canada, many, many negatives here as well.
and you know that for the express entry, for instance, into Canada, I'm sure apart from Indians and Chinese, Nigerians probably have the most. As I speak to you, three of my siblings are in Canada already, express entry, and we are so hardworking that I can guarantee you, we're so hardworking that I'm sure people will feel uncomfortable at the level of agility Nigeria brings to work. And I'm sure even when I speak to you, you can see the energy, you can see the passion, and I'm sure you'll be
100%.
wondering, Jacob, I'm sure you'll be wondering, Lala, calm down, we're not
No,
fighting.
no, I like the excitement because
We're just
we do have a large Nigerian population here in Canada, and every one of them hard workers, funny, always smiling, always family oriented, and they use that
yeah,
hard work and they the same story as the generators. They want to show off what they've earned, right? They want to show off what they have achieved, and that is what Africa should be about. You should not just not talk about what you've earned, because hard work equals your success, and your success equals a few toys to play with, right? You can have a house, but why not get the bigger house? You can have a generator, why not have a bigger generator, right?
yes. And you know what? Since we know how to make money, we also know how to spend the money. You know, now thank God for social media that is also getting people to see the good part of. So, for instance, I used to tell people that um, you've you'll be surprised at how much people. The best way to put it in the part of the world that we will put your matter on our head, meaning that if we dig you, we really dig you, we would protect you, we would shield you, we would go the extra mile.
You want to see
For
them
instance,
succeed. Yeah.
yes. So for instance, if anybody comes, I'll give you a case in point. There's a particular delicacy in Nigeria that is called jollof rice.
Oh, I love jollof rice. I've had it many times.
Yeah, jollof rice. The Ghanaians also have their own kind of jollof. But if you see how Nigerians defend their jollof, they defend their jollof to the point whereby they would actually pay some Ghanaians to come taste our jollof. Nigerians will fund them coming over to come and spend the weekend in order to taste our jollof. That's the kind of energy we have. That's the kind of vibe we bring. Unfortunately, yes, there are a few bad eggs, but that's everywhere. Now,
Exactly.
we need to get, and thank you for what it is you're doing. You're helping to showcase the best of Africa, and we are phenomenal people. I tell people we are phenomenal people. Yes, a lot of us cannot swim, but when you see us by the poolside, you would assume we own the pool. If our people have pools in their house and they can't swim,
They are sitting by that pool as if they are world-class swimmers. It's it
as if they are Michael Phelps,
exactly.
But where we are, we and we can't but help, we can't but help it, And so, for instance, I know that some of my friends in the First World Nation say that it's sort of like boring, and I'm like, why? They say because it's sort of like you go from work, home, then probably if you have a spiritual center that you attend, work, home, spiritual center, work, home, spiritual center. Now, how do people live here? That there's something we call Owambe. Yes, we party. We love to. So the best way to put it is that we love to celebrate. When somebody is giving birth to, when a child is born, we celebrate. When that child is 1 year old, and for every time we celebrate, a lot of businesses are involved. So the event manager is getting business, the DJ is getting business,
The caterers, the
the
food
entire value
people.
chain is getting business.
Exactly. And
Yes. So the food people are. Then when the child is 1, we're celebrating. When the child is 5, we're celebrating. When the child is 10, we're celebrating. Every milestone, I told you earlier that where did I tell you I was coming from before doing this with you?
you're coming from a party.
Remember, party, exactly. So that's how we are. But you know what? We work for our money. And so
Exactly.
we also determine how we should spend this money.
As
And that's it. But
as they
it's such an
say.
amazing place. You have time.
No, sorry, continue.
So, as they say, ain't no party in Lagos party. You
I,
know, you
I was
party in New York, party in you party in Toronto, wherever it is you've partied. If you've not partied in Nigeria, you're kidding. You're still playing.
it's how
We
they say
we we
work hard, play
love
hard.
everything business enterprise, and we also love. Yes, if I play harder.
Exactly. Play harder than the other
Yes,
person.
that's the way we are.
No, Lala, that was an amazing,
Yeah.
amazing talk about not only Nigeria but investments and how the culture, because my intention of this interview or discussion was more about the business side, but to see the culture side and to see the lifestyle, that is a bonus for my viewers and even for myself, because now that I know that Nigerians work hard and play even harder, guess what? I will definitely have to make a trip to Nigeria to experience it myself. And I'll bring along a few foreigners myself. So I great discussion, Lala. Wonderful. We are definitely going to have another discussion very soon in the near future, because I want to see how you're doing, see how Nigeria has developed, because this is just the beginning, right? If Burger King just came last year, then in 5 years who knows where Nigeria will be. I'm sure Nigeria will have multinational corporations all over the place. And the good thing is they're coming from the rural to the city. So that alone shows that people are not just sticking to the traditional lifestyle that they're used to, or maybe that their parents are used to, or their grandparents are used to. Now they are making a name for themselves. They're making, a difference in the community and in their city.
Yes, very true. Very true.
Perfect. And so we are going to wrap it up here because I know you have a party to go to. So I'm sure once you get into that party, it's back into action. But Lala, thank you so much for having this discussion with me. We are definitely going to keep in touch, and we will definitely interview you again. So my viewers, I will have all of Lala's details in the description box, his IG, his businesses, all of that. And if any of you are actually thinking of investing or even visiting Nigeria, or just want to know what's going on in Nigeria, please DM our friend Lala here, because he, as you can see, he is funny, charismatic, and definitely knowledgeable about what he's saying and what he's doing. And I will definitely be using some of his knowledge to benefit myself. And I hope that you, my viewers, my awesome people, will do the same. Okay, so until next time, my viewers, peace out.